Right now we're going to look at the best Android video editor apps currently available, and my pick for the best video editing app for Android in 2018 after putting them all to the test. Hey, it's Justin Brown here from Primal Video, where we help you amplify your business and brand with video. If you're new here, then make sure you click that subscribe button, and all the links to everything we mentioned in this video, you can find linked in the description box below. So let's jump into it. Now, I say this every time, but this is like the third year running that we've produced a video on the video editing app landscape, and the apps just keep getting more and more powerful. The options that we're covering today are starting to rival a lot of desktop software, and you get access to all that power in just the palm of your hand, and you can use it anywhere you want. So after going through our full research process to see what new apps have popped up, what's changed with the apps from last time, and testing out all the contenders to see how they really compare, in this video we're going to run through my best picks or the top apps for video editing apps on Android, and which is my #1 recommendation. So we'll start by looking at the short list of all the apps that made it that far and all the key things that you should know about each of those options. And while we're running through, make sure to drop a comment down below. What is your favorite video editing app on Android and why? So if you've ever actually looked in the Android App Store for video editing apps, there is way too many out there to choose from. So our top contenders, or our shortlist that we've narrowed all of these apps down to, include CuteCut, Adobe Premiere Clip, Quick, WeVideo, KineMaster, Power Director, and Filmora Go. Now, while each of these apps will let you edit your videos and you can get great results with any of these apps, really the level of control and the level of features and things that you get in the apps changes quite a bit. Where it really comes down to is how much control do you actually want over your editing? What sort of videos are you going to be editing? How much actual editing do you need to do to the footage that you've shot? And all of that is going to play a part in which is the best video editing software for you. So the majority of editing apps out there, and even the majority of the editing apps in our shortlist, are very basic. They'll let you do basic cuts, add some color, add some text, but that's pretty much it. There are definitely a few standouts and a few that are really pushing the boundaries of what you can do with editing on an Android device. So you've got apps out there like Adobe Premiere Clip and WeVideo, which are fantastic for editing videos on your device, but they are very basic. But the biggest advantage with those apps is that if you are editing on WeVideo as a platform from your desktop or Adobe Premiere Pro, then the projects you can actually transfer between. So you could start your video on WeVideo or Adobe Premiere Clip on your device and transfer it and finish it on your desktop computer. So that's a pretty cool feature if you're into that. But if you want something that is a complete end-to-end solution on your mobile device, then I'd say that both of those apps really only have limited functionality when it comes to actual editing on your device. And that's pretty much the same with the app Quick. It is a good video editing app if you're after very basic edits with not a lot of control and multiple video tracks and a heap of advanced features that some of the other apps have. So if you're after basic editing, then Quick is still a good solution. But there's a couple of standouts here that we're about to jump into that really take video editing on your Android device to the next level. So overall, looking at the apps on our shortlist, there's really 4 standout apps that are pushing the boundaries of what you can do in regards to video editing on your Android device. And they are Filmora Go, CuteCut, KineMaster, and Cyberlink Power Director. Now in the last video we did CuteCut and Filmora Go, really didn't get much of a look in, but over the past year they've actually grown quite a lot, and the feature set that they've got in them are now pretty solid, and you can do a lot more with your video editing with the advanced tools that they've now brought in on both of those apps. But in saying that, the top 2 apps for video editing on Android that we've narrowed this down to are hands down KineMaster and Power Director, which is really the same result as last year. These two are miles ahead of any other app out there in regards to professional level video editing on your Android device. But even these 2 apps over the past year have changed and have improved and come quite a way as well. Now, I'm a really big fan of both of these apps and I love what they're doing and I love how far they've come. But if I had to pick a winner, it's going to go to Cyberlink Power Director. And there's a couple of clear standout reasons why I would go Power Director over KineMaster. The first one, and probably the most important one, is how easy it is to use and how intuitive it is, but still with all the advanced features. Both of them support things like multi-track video editing, advanced audio control, advanced color correction, the ability to easily pick up and move your clips around and to trim them down and to integrate music and adjust all your volume levels. So in regards to actual video editing, both of them are very similar, but the interface on Power Director and the way that you actually edit and the performance that you have in it seems to be quite a bit ahead of KineMaster, at least in my opinion. Now, another really big standout feature for Power Director is the level of control you've got over your color correction inside your videos. Now, it's a massive thing in video editing anyway, to be able to dial in and really get your colors looking the way that you want. And that's something where Power Director has much more control and advanced control, but done in a simple way over KineMaster. So with KineMaster, you do get control over things like your brightness, the contrast, and the saturation. You also get a heap of filters that you can use to drop in. Think of that like Instagram style filters to apply different looks you can apply to your videos. Power Director has all of that as well, but it's also got much more advanced control, even with simple things like adjusting the white balance, which can make a huge difference to your end video output. Another really big feature of Power Director that you won't find in KineMaster, and actually don't find in a lot of the other apps out there, is the ability to edit your videos in landscape and in portrait. So if you're going to be editing down things like Instagram stories or any portrait videos, then you can actually do this in Power Director instead of just trying to squash your portrait video down into a landscape frame. Now, if that's something that you're interested in and looking to take your Instagram stories up a notch, I'll put a link up in the cards now to a video where we take you through that process. And the process is actually using Power Director to do that video editing in portrait. Now, with all of that, that's not to say that KineMaster isn't a solid option. There's a couple of standout features that KineMaster has that Power Director doesn't have. And the biggest one that I would say there is the level of control you have over your audio files. The amount of professional filters that you can put on to make your audio sound really good in your videos. And that's simple things like having an audio compressor that you can turn on or off, and also having keyframe based editing to adjust the different volume levels throughout your video as you go. So that is really the standout feature for me. But once again, really if you're using either one of these two, then they're both going to give you great results with your videos. Now, probably the biggest thing that we haven't touched on yet is the pricing of these two apps. Now, both of them will run for free. You can edit on them for free, but they will add a watermark to your video when you're saving it out. Now, in order to remove that watermark is where you're gonna have to pay them some money. Now, the last time we took a look at these two apps side by side, Power Director had a much better offering. It was a flat fee of $5 or $6 to buy the app outright. Now, if you've already paid for Power Director, then it's likely you're not going to have to pay for their new pricing model, which is actually a subscription model, a monthly subscription or an annual subscription to use the software, which is what KineMaster has had the whole time. So a subscription to KineMaster is going to cost you around $5 per month, or around $42 per year. Now, this is Australian pricing, so the pricing may vary a little bit depending on where you are, but it's going to be around that price. And the new pricing model for Power Director is going to cost you around $7 per month, or around $50 per year. And they do also have a third option where you can pay for 3 months access to the app, and that's going to cost you around $14. So with Power Director, not only is purchasing a license going to remove the watermark, it's also going to give you higher quality 1080p exports as well. Now, I guess the biggest thing to look at when you're looking at the pricing of these apps and how they now have all moved to a subscription-based model is looking at what they will allow you to do. So these are professional level video editing apps. These are the closest apps that are going to mimic desktop video editing on your Android device. And to have that flexibility and that power on your device and that ability to edit anywhere is insane. So I personally think it's an absolute no-brainer if you are going to be editing your videos down on your Android device to seriously consider one of these two apps. So my picks then would be, if you're not after something more professional, would be to check out Filmora Go and also to check out CuteCut. Both of those are solid options and they've come a really long way even in the past 12 months. So for me right now, the #1 video editing app on Android does go to Cyberlink Power Director. If you're looking to level up the professionalism of your content and get a shiny new intro animation or some custom branded titles, it's actually much easier to do than you might think. And you can import them right across to your Android device and use in your new editing app. So click the link on screen now for a video stepping through the whole process, and I'll see you soon.